2018 West Ottawa High School Veterans Day Assembly. In his family memoir, titled Faith in My Fathers, veteran and the late John McCain said these words: "As a prisoner of war, I fell in love with my country. I had loved her before then, but like most young people, my affection was little more than a simple appreciation for the comforts and privileges most Americans enjoy and took for granted. It wasn't until I had lost America for a time that I realized how much I loved her. So a soldier captured in enemy territory, positioned in the least desirable conditions, and what does he describe? His love for his country. These words reflect the selfless nature of the men and women that put their country before themselves. They put the betterment of others ahead of their personal ambitions. So today, West Ottawa High School, let us profoundly dignify the veterans in this room, all of the veterans around the world currently serving or have served, and all of the veterans who are deceased. Let our praise and recognition not be limited to one day a year, but rather a timeless celebration. Students, staff, and members of our community, please help me welcome our distinguished guests, our veterans, to the ceremony. please remain standing for the presentation of our colors, the Star-Spangled Banner, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right, left, face. Color bearers, post code. Present her.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. Thank you, West Ottawa Band and Choir, for that spectacular performance. Let's give them one more round of applause. Veterans Day is meant to honor our country's military veterans, the ordinary heroes who took a very serious oath to protect our Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. They did not ask for glory, honor, or fame. Many times, when you try to give them too much praise, they will tell you, we're just doing our job. The very least we can do as a school and a community is honor their service. Serving in the United States military means to give selflessly. Sometimes it means to give everything for your country. These ordinary heroes live amongst us here in West Michigan, many right here in our neighborhoods on the north side of Holland. I would like to take a moment to recognize not only our veterans, but also their family and friends. Would any student, staff, or community member who has a family member, friend, or neighbor who has served or is currently serving in the military, please stand now. These ordinary heroes have an extraordinary impact on our lives and our community. Please join me in thanking the family and friends who have supported these veterans among us. You may be seated. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to recognize the veterans who have joined us this morning. Veterans, when I read your name, please remain standing. Audience, please hold your applause until all veterans' names have been read. Phil Spreitzer, United States Army. Gary Edwards, United States Navy. Wayne Postma, United States Navy. Ulf Hurmiller, United States Navy. Timothy Von Rauti, United States Navy. Faith Gibson, United States Army. Robin Sherman. Jerry Brower, United States Army. Ralph Gutierrez, United States Air Force. Ken Wiley, United States Navy. Larry Lee, United States Army. Terry Sherman, Army National Guard. Bill Stahauer, United States Army. Emily Bremer, United States Navy. Nate Townsend, United States Air Force. David Labarge, United States Army. Stephen Sandstead, United States Navy. Rod Van Leeuw, Army National Guard. Patsy Fabiano, United States Army. Scott McLaughlin, United States Army. Sergio Orozco, United States Army. Harold Vandenberg, United States Army. Larry Brewer, United States Air Force and United States Army. Thomas Golick, United States Marine Corps. Gerald Couyers, United States Army. Larry Rosema, United States Army. Edward Lopez, United States Marine Corps. Roger Klunder, United States Marine Corps. Gary Lee Barr, United States Army. Norman Leestma, United States Army. Linda K. Baer, United States Army. Richard Vredeveld, United States Air Force. Louis Rutledge, United States Army. Harold Kuipers, United States Army. Jim Zorner, United States Army. Andrew Bassett, United States Army. Catherine Bassett, United States Army. Delwyn Westenlord, United States Army. Carl Van Dam, United States Army. Dale Boers, United States Army. Raymond Klumparents, United States Army. Travis Wilson, Michigan Army National Guard. John Walsh, United States Army. David Bukema, United States Army. Robert Van Dyke, United States Navy. Stephen Machno, United States Army. Ryan Klingeman, United States Marine Corps. Thomas Fierro, United States Navy. Douglas Kilpatrick, United States Navy. Craig DeFire, United States Army. Caleb Alexander, Army National Guard. Eli Paquette, United States Coast Guard Academy. Luther Von Miller, United States Marines and United States Army. Jeremy Latz, United States Army. West Ottawa High School, please join me in thanking the veterans gathered here today for their service to our country. Today we're privileged with a very special guest speaker. It's my distinct honor to introduce him today. Command Sergeant Major David Stafford is the Battalion Command Sergeant Major for the Michigan Army National Guard Recruiting Battalion. He is stationed at the Michigan Army National Guard Joint Forces Headquarters in Lansing, Michigan. Command Sergeant Major Stafford is originally from Whitehall, Michigan, and currently resides in Caledonia with his wife Tori and his 3 children. Mr. Stafford entered the United States Army on September 26, 1996, where he attended basic combat training at Fort Knox, Kentucky. His first duty station was Fort Eustis, Virginia, where he was assigned to the 7th Transportation Group. Command Sergeant Major Stafford's other duty positions include Company First Sergeant, Retention NCOISC, Battalion Operations and Training NCOIC, Detachment NCOIC, Recruitment and Retention NCO, Supply NCO, NBC NCO, and Cargo Specialist. Mr. Stafford's military education includes United States Sergeant's Major Academy, Advanced Non-Commissioned Officers Course, Basic Non-Commissioned Officers Course, Primary Leadership Development Course, Recruiting and Retention Pre-Command Course, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, Total Army Instructor Training Course, Combat Lifesaver Course, NBC, Defense Officer NCO course, Modern Army Combative course. His list of accolades is too long to speak of today. Please join me in welcoming Command Sergeant Major David Stafford.
you. I was asked by my Director of Human Resources to come here and speak before you today. I had no idea there'd be, from the looks of things, a couple thousand people here, but I wanted to say it's my honor and privilege to be here. To the color guard, thank you. To the choir and the band, fantastic job, thank you. Good morning, veterans, distinguished guests, faculty, and students at West Ottawa High School. My name is Command Sergeant Major David Stafford, and I would like to thank the faculty at West Ottawa High School for inviting me to speak with you this morning. It is my honor and privilege to spend my morning with each of you. Today, we come to honor and recognize American service members, both past and present. This day of celebration and reflection originated from the signing of an armistice, a temporary cessation of hostilities that ended on Monday, November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., when all fighting ceased between Allied nations and Germany, effectively ending World War I. The original concept for the celebration was for a day observed with parades and public meetings and a brief suspension of businesses. The actual legal federal holiday was approved by Congress in 1938. It wasn't until 1954, following World War II and the Korean War, that Congress replaced armistice with veterans, amending the original act to commemorate November 11th, a day in America when veterans of all wars were honored. Veterans are recognized as men and women who have or are serving in America's armed forces. Today, Veterans Day is a celebration to honor all American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. It is also a day for reflection. Whether you wear the uniform today or wore it decades ago, veterans represent a fundamental truth. It's not the powerful weapons that make our military the greatest in the world. It's not the sophisticated aircraft, missiles, rockets, satellites, and cyber technology that make us the most advanced. The true strength of our military is the spirit and skill of our soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors, and Coast Guardsmen. Veterans Day 2018 finds us as a nation with conflict and uncertainty. Our sons and daughters continue to answer the call to support and defend our nation and our freedoms by serving around the globe. There is no mystery behind the endurance and the success of our service members and our veterans. In every generation, from the Revolutionary War to this very hour, brave Americans have stepped forward, served honorably in the armed forces of the United States. Every one of you deserves our admiration and as well the entire country. So today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all America's veterans for your quiet courage and your exemplary service, to let you know we are grateful and acknowledge your many sacrifices and accomplishments. From the moment any soldier enlisted in the United States Army, they are constantly told about the Army's 7 values, and to at all times live a life both on and off duty that represents those 7 values. The Army's 7 values are loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to work with some of America's finest citizens. One of my soldiers was recently awarded the Michigan Army National Guard Life-Saving Medal, and I feel his story represents our Army's 7 values and is a sterling example of the kind of people you see wearing our nation's military uniform. Sergeant First Class Lucas Catterfeld is an Army National Guard recruiter who serves in the Flint area. On 5 December 2017, Sergeant First Class Catterfeld was on his way home after work. Sergeant First Class Catterfeld could see smoke billowing in the distance on a side street. Wondering if there was an accident or if someone needed help, he turned off his route home to see what was going on. Moments later, Sergeant First Class Catterfeld found himself staring a life or death situation in the face. At the intersection of Linden and Miller Roads in Flint Township, there was a two-vehicle accident. One vehicle was unoccupied, but Sergeant First Class Catterfeld could see two police officers struggling to remove the driver from the other side of the vehicle, which was on fire. With complete disregard for his own safety, Sergeant First Class Catterfeld immediately began assisting the police officers in extracting the driver from the vehicle. The smoke was so dense and the fire was so hot that the officers and Sergeant First Class Catterfeld had to take turns trying to get the unconscious victim from the burning car. After several unsuccessful attempts by the rescuing party, Sergeant First Class Catterfeld went to the driver's side, which was engulfed by smoke, and was able to free the driver's arm. At this point, he and the police officers were able to remove the driver and turn him over to appropriate medical personnel for follow-on care. When I talked to Sergeant First Class Catterfeld about this event, he doesn't see anything special about his actions, and he said he did what anyone else would do. But as his story continues, he will tell you there were a lot of people at the scene of that accident. Some watched horrifically, some even recorded the accident with their cell phone, but only one ran toward the fire. That's what veterans do. They display acts of selfless service and personal courage, not just overseas in conflict, but through their actions in normal, everyday life. This is just one illustration of how military service can teach someone certain values that can change the world for the better. For the time you spend in uniform, the interest of the nation always comes first. And those burdens are shared by family members who make many sacrifices of their own, face separation during long deployments, and sometimes bear permanent loss. But there are rewards, aside from the college benefits, the pension, the medical care received for service. There is also pride in developing one's character and becoming a leader. Serving a cause far greater than any self-interest and the nobility of protecting our nation. Every man and woman who wears America's uniform is part of a long, unbroken line of achievement and honor. No single military power in history has done greater good, shown greater courage, liberated more people, or upheld higher standards of decency and valor than the Armed Forces service members of the United States of America. The veterans in your community are part of a legacy to be proud of, and those of you who contribute to this legacy must never be taken for granted. To honor our veterans, we must keep the promises that we have made. We must care for those who were injured in the service of our country. We must support the family members of deployed service members. We must honor and remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. In closing, I would ask all veterans to stand one more time to be recognized. Veterans, you have done your duty. Thank you. Please be seated. I would now ask the family member of any service member to stand. We know you have lived through difficult times and have often taken the heavy load to assume responsibilities of your loved one while they were away serving our country. Thank you for your sacrifices. Please be seated. Will Staff Sergeant Travis Wilson please stand? Staff Sergeant Wilson is the Army National Guard recruiter for this area. If there is anyone interested in what the National Guard does, what benefits come with serving in the Guard, or what type of citizens we look for, please find Sergeant Wilson or myself after this presentation. We'd love to talk with you and give you the information that you're looking for so you could potentially join our amazing team. In closing, God bless all veterans and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
We have gathered here today to observe Veterans Day and to honor the brave men and women who have fought to maintain peace and freedom for all others. Beginning with the War of 1812, nearly 40 million people have been called to serve in our nation's military during times of war. The 16 million who served in World War II were an average of 26 years old, and 2/3 of those men were drafted. The 8.7 million who served in Vietnam were an average age of 22. And that is just a few years older than most students here today. 2/3 of those men willingly risked their lives as volunteers. 70% of those who died were volunteers. And currently there are approximately 1.5 million active military personnel, with an additional 1 million military personnel on reserve. There are over 22 million veterans living in the United States today. Nearly every one of us here today knows someone who has served or is serving our country in a branch of armed forces. Here today to remind us of the importance of Veterans Day is West Ottawa's own student, Anthony Short.
Most kids will have at some point pretended to be a soldier, played with toy soldiers, or dreamed of becoming a soldier. But what few of those youthful minds recognize are the requirements, the determination, and the risk involved in becoming one of America's greatest protectors. I, like many boys, also had a dream like this. My dream wasn't to rise into the highest ranks of the Marine Corps like some of my friends at the time. I simply dreamed of being a pilot in the Navy, flying through the sky in an F-18 Hornet, the exact same plane as the Blue Angel on my desk. All I wanted to do was serve and protect my home, because that's what I felt I should do, not necessarily what I wanted to do. I held on to this dream to the end of elementary school and middle school. It wasn't until my freshman year of high school that I began to consider other paths in the branches of the military. I started to talk to the Navy and Air Force recruiters that popped up at school. I began learning about the different programs they offered, such as music, culinary arts, engineering, and computer coding, that I hadn't thought of pursuing. I learned of the different paths to service, like enlisting outright, going to college to become an officer, or attending one of the prestigious military academies. Suddenly, my dream was turning into something more real. In my excitement to do something great, I forgot to think hard and think realistically. In accordance with current health regulations, I would have some crazy obstacles to get over, like corrective lenses, asthma, and genetic disorders, reducing my chances to be in the military to what feels like 1 in a gazillion. Being part of the military is much more than joining a defense force. It's a teacher showing you how to be the best version of yourself, how to take care of those around you, and how to stay calm under pressure. It teaches you to look sharp, lead with pride and integrity, and and give 100% of yourself at any given time, no matter how rough it is. It teaches you the value of friends, and of family, and of brothers and sisters, of grit and loyalty. Joining the military isn't a one-time thing, where you do your service and you get out. It's a way of life. Since the shock heard around the world at Lexington and Concord and a revolutionary war began, to the most recent conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq, brave American men and women that are answering the nation's call to duty. Your presence here today, and that of people gathering across America, is a tribute to those lost troops and to their families. It is a way to say we remember. From the soldiers who shivered and starved through the winter at Valley Forge, to the doughboys crouched in the muddy trenches of France, to the platoon who patrolled the hazy jungles of Vietnam, and the young men and women patrolling the mountains of Afghanistan, we remember and honor them all. And so today, we honor the brave men and women who have served, are serving, and will continue to serve in our nation's military. Their commitment and sacrifice is something that we have all benefited from, and we are all grateful for. They demonstrate pride, integrity, determination, and they are models for us all. Former President John F. Kennedy once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." And so, I say thank you to you, the veterans, for being an inspiration to me and to so many others. Please join me in a big round of applause for some of our most important citizens, our veterans, who we honor today.
We gather here today to commemorate and honor all those living and dead for their sacrifices in preserving peace, liberty, and justice. Helping us pay tribute to our West Ottawa veterans are 9 current West Ottawa students. Following each tribute, there will be a moment of silence. Please hold all applause.
Today we honor Daniel M. Mendez, a member of the class of 1965. Daniel was the son of Carlos and Linda Mendez and the brother of Rebecca, Carmen, and Mary. While at West Ottawa High School, Dan played football, ran track, and became president of the Knights Club, an organization that raised money to aid in school activities. Many remember Dan as a gifted artist. Dan was also very well liked and admired by his peers. When Dan turned 18, he immediately joined the Marines and was sent to Vietnam to fight. Dan encountered no problems during his first tour of duty and could have come home to stay. Instead, he chose to return to Vietnam to fight in his second tour of duty. Marine Corporal Daniel M. Mendez died in the vicinity of Quang Nam on May 29, 1968, while serving his country. He was 22 years old.
Today we honor Robert J. Weststreet, a member of the class of 1966. He was the son of Chester and Nellie Weststreet and the second oldest of 6 children. While in high school, Robert participated in intramural sports and the Future Farmers of America Club his sophomore, junior, and senior years. Robert attended North Holland Reformed Church and was president of his youth group. He was a quiet, well-liked individual with a ready smile. Robert enlisted in the Army as an engineer in February of 1967, and his courage earned him the Purple Heart when he was wounded in action in December of that same year. 6 months later, Army Specialist 4th Class Robert J. Weststreet died in Vietnam on June 7, 1968, while serving his country. He was 19 years old.
Today we honor Terry Robert Meyer, a member of the class of 1965. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert V. Meyer of Holland and had 2 brothers, Jeff and Mark, and a sister, Susan. Terry was very athletic throughout high school, playing football for 1 year, basketball, and baseball for 4 years, and running cross country for 3. Terry had high goals for himself. He was a hard worker. His ability in athletics illustrates this, and he was very determined. He was never in the spotlight, but he enjoyed being a member of the team. After high school, Terry Meyer joined the Army and served in the 1st Infantry Division. Sergeant Terry Robert Meyer died near Di An, Vietnam on August 13, 1968, while serving his country. He was 21 years old.
Today we honor Robert Edwin Knoll, a member of the class of 1965. He was the only son of Bernard and Lois Knoll and brother to sisters Jennifer, Margie, and Valerie. Bob was extremely people-oriented. His friends said he had a good sense of humor and a kind heart. Bob was also intelligent, and that was one of the reasons people followed him. These qualities made Bob a good soldier. Bob was drafted into the Army in 1967. On a required military test, Bob earned the highest score ever to come out of the Detroit testing area. Because he did so well, he was offered the opportunity to enter flight school, which would require further training, but he chose to go to Vietnam to be with his buddies. Sergeant Knoll's quick actions and successful leadership earned him the Bronze Star Medal for heroism. He was commended for his exceptional courage, professional skill, and exemplary devotion to duty. Army Sergeant Robert Edwin Knoll died in Vietnam on September 27, 1968, while serving his country. He was 20 years old.
Today we honor Robert Ray Boeskool, a member of the class of 1969. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Ray Boeskool and brother to Betty. As a student, Robert was involved in many extracurricular activities, which included Spanish club, choir, football, and baseball. Outside of school, his other personal interests included bowling, working on cars, and playing in band. He enjoyed the outdoors and participated in scouting and many outdoor sports such as hunting, archery, and fishing. He was also active in Rose Park Reformed Church. After high school, Robert joined the United States Army and was assigned to Vietnam. He left Holland on May 11, 1970, and was in South Vietnam for only 22 days. Private First Class Robert Ray Boeskool died in South Vietnam on June 6, 1970, while serving his country. He was 19 years old.
Today we honor Stephen Brink, a member of the class of 1977. During high school, Stephen liked to play football, enjoyed being around others. Stephen was an all-around people person, and his mother says one word to describe Steve was loving. Stephen had a love for flying. It was his life. He received his private pilot's license at age 16. When he wasn't at school, he was at Park Township Airport, working there as well as learning to fly. After graduating from Ottawa, Stephen joined the Army and was a plane mechanic, ranking as corporal. Stephen was stationed at Norfolk, Virginia for 1.5 years. On September 15, 1979, Stephen flew home from his Army base outside Washington, D.C. with his fiancée, Robin Sibley, to surprise his mother for his 20th birthday. On the flight home, the engine of the airplane caught fire and the plane crashed near Hastings, Michigan. Corporal Stephen J. Brink, his fiancée, Robin Sibley, and 2 others died on September 15, 1979. He was 20 years old.
Today we honor Russell Terry King, a member of the class of 1974. Terry, as he was known, moved to Holland at the age of 2 with his family, which included 8 of their children. Terry enjoyed art very much. Painting provided a form of expression for him. Terry's teachers remember him as talkative and lively and a pleasure to have him in class. Terry's friends remember his fun-loving personality and his enjoyment of life. Terry entered the Navy after graduating in 1974 and served as an electrician aboard the USS Edwin. Prior to this, he had married and had a son, Russell Terry Jr., who later followed in his father's footsteps and joined the Navy. Electronic technician, second class Russell Terry King died at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba on September 17, 1979 while serving his country. He was 24 years old. Today we honor Hotchkiss, a member of the class of 1993. Prior to his decision to enlist in the service, Joel had plans to attend Grand Rapids Community College. Those plans were put on hold when he chose to serve his country by enlisting in the Marine Corps. At Camp Pendleton, where he was stationed north of San Diego, Joe was known as the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company C because he had an excellent reputation for his music. His rendition of Taps could bring tears to one's eyes. Following his year in the service, Joel continued serving his country through the Marine Reserves. Joel also had plans to continue schooling and to pursue the study of architecture. He and his best friend Keith had dreamed of starting their own company. However, Joel's dreams were left to be fulfilled by others. In December of 1994, Joel lost his life in an automobile accident. Marine Private First Class Joel E. Hotchkiss died in Pullman, Michigan on December 31st, 1994. He was 20 years old.
Today, we honor Andrew C. Syfe, a member of the class of 2006. He was the son of Charlotte Nealis and Carl Syfe, brothers to Emily, Karen, and John, and husband to Dawn Redrick Syfe, also a West Ottawa graduate. During high school, Andrew attended Marmion Military Academy in Illinois, Catholic Central High School in Grand Rapids, and then finished his senior year at West Ottawa. While in high school, Andrew participated in many different sports, including football and rugby. Kids gravitated to Andrew, and he always made time for people, especially those who didn't fit in. He attracted lost souls, his mother recalls. He also loved the outdoors, Boy Scouts, and snowboarding. Andrew did not feel that college was the right fit for him, but the military was. He asked his mom to sign his enlistment papers the summer between his junior and senior years of high school, then came to West Ottawa to finish high school and earn his diploma so that he could join the Marine Corps. Andrew chose the Marines because he felt they had the reputation of being tough and having rigorous training for their recruiters. Andrew loved boot camp, and in the final challenge, a 40-plus mile hike with a 50-pound pack on his back, Andrew was one of the first to finish, and then he went back to help the other guys. Andrew did 1 tour of duty in Iraq and 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. In 2012, while serving in Afghanistan, Andrew put his life on the line to save his teammate who came under enemy fire. His heroism earned him the Marine of the Year award from the United States Service Organization. On March 10, 2015, just 1 week after being awarded the Silver Star for his actions in Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Andrew Syfe died in a helicopter crash during a training exercise off the coast of Florida. He was 26 years old.
With deepest respect and highest tribute, we're now attentive to the call of the roll. The following West Ottawa High Schools died while serving their country, defending the freedom we cherish. Daniel Mendez, class of 1965. Robert Knoll, class of 1965. Terry Robert Meyer, class of 1965. Robert J. Westrate, class of 1966. Robert Ray Boeskool, class of 1969. Russell Terry King, class of 1974. Stephen Brink, class of 1977. Joel Hotchkiss, class of 1993. Andrew C. Seif, class of 2006.
Once again, I would like to thank our veterans for joining us today. A sincere thank you to our guest speaker, Commander Sergeant Major David Stafford. A special thanks to our student speakers, our wonderful high school band and choir. Lastly, thank yous to Mr. Yeager, Mrs. Cheney, Mr. Oshnak, Mrs. Elzinga, and Mrs. Hausler for all of their work in putting together this event. This concludes our assembly. Have a great day, and God bless America.